Tom and Gerry Show is sponsored by findavenue.ie.
For over 10 years, findavenue.ie has been working in the Dublin area, helping thousands of companies with all their venue needs. From corporate parties to away days, training seminars, conferences, summer barbecues to Christmas parties. The lot.
As a pair of comedians who know what it's like when the wrong venue gets booked for the wrong occasion, we can assure you that findavenue.ie is the go-to service when you're looking for a venue for your upcoming event. Simply contact them at findavenue.ie and they'll do the rest, saving you precious time and hassle.
Best of all, findavenue.ie is absolutely free to use.
Get out of here.
I'm telling you now, with findavenue.ie, free means free. No hidden costs or sneaky charges, all backed up with an incredible team offering you great customer service throughout the whole process. If you need a venue for anything from corporate day out to a quiz night, a gala dinner, or even a virtual event, findavenue.ie is your one-stop shop for all.
Head over to findavenue.ie to see how they can help you with your next event.
Thanks again to this week's sponsor for the Tom and Gerry Show, findavenue.ie. Welcome everybody to the Tom and Gerry Show.
The Tom and Gerry Show, ladies and gentlemen. How are you all keeping? The all-new Tom and Gerry Show. You're very welcome to the first episode of the Tom and Gerry Show. For old listeners and new, I'm Jerry McBride.
I'm Tom O'Mahony. We got that right anyway, Jer.
I think we got everybody up to speed.
That's it.
That's it.
Do you know what? There's simplicity to things that make me happy. And our podcast, people want to go to, people want to know the backstory and the depth and they want to do the whole deep dive. And when people get into like a wrestler or they go, I want to know what he did in the previous. It's just, nope. That's it. Yeah, if this is your starting point, absolutely go back. But this is fine. This will be okay.
This is fine. This is ground zero for the Tom and Gerry Show, everybody. Back in a new weekly format, don't you know, Tom?
I know, because you had mooted it, I had mooted it, and then we finally said, you know what, let's do it. Let's do a weekly one that everybody, it's the cribbing that was going on, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? So we've committed to this now. We're married.
Yeah.
We're married to this. Till death do us part, Ger.
In better or worse, Tom, I'll tell you one thing. But with a new dawn comes a new format. We've got a lot of exciting things to chit chat and talk with you. Our aim is to keep this going for every damn week of the year. And let's see how we get on with that one, Tom.
Well, look, as we know, time goes by. We have to live, so we have to talk, and we may as well talk to each other because
this is it.
It's
you or the walls, buddy.
It's you or the dog, Ger. That's it now at this stage. It's you or the dog. So, do you know what? You are starting to morph into my dog slightly. You've got a nice beard going on.
Thank you,
Your
Tom.
hair is nice and shaggy.
Thank you, Tom.
First and foremost, to get it right, we're saying hello to each other. We literally only just hit record and just jumped on. How are you keeping? Are you all right?
I am very good, Tom. I got to be honest with you. I've been very much looking forward to podcasting with your good self, to the point that it's been all consuming of everything. I haven't done a lick of DIY. The garden's gone to seed. The side of the house looks like a nightmare. Lord knows the backyard needs power washing, I'll tell you that much. But everything's just been like, let's get this podcast ready with Tom. What about yourself? Have you been busy or idle?
Do you know what? I have been busy. We were in building house and whatnot, and I'll keep you updated as to how my hair is falling out as a direct result of that in the coming months. Anybody wants to go back and listen to where I sounded like a complete expert in Tom and Gerry Build a House, yeah, it'll. I know for a fact what's coming. Many, many wrinkles and many, many hair losses. But you know what? I'm okay, Ger. I'm back on the wagon. I'm not overly religious, but I do like to take the only reasoning around Lent is I tried to clean up my diet because Lord knows, chips at all hours of the night driving away from places needed to go.
Yes.
And I was on the wagon, Ger. I was so good for 40 days. I broke once or twice. I was off the sugar, the chocolate, the sweets, all of it. I was off it. Somebody mentioned to me the other day that I looked good, which doesn't often happen anymore.
You don't get a you look good in the wild too often these days now.
Yeah, I got one. Easter kind of
so the other foot's about to fall here, Tom.
Yeah, Easter. Oh God, it happened hard, Ger. It happened very, very hard. Oh my God, I fell off. Brutal. I was drinking cans of Coke and everything with my Cocoa Pops. It was gone absolutely scandalous. I was.
Well, luckily, Tom, I haven't fallen off the wagon because I haven't gotten on it yet. I've just been relentlessly pounding back selection boxes since Christmas.
It ended with too much tiramisu last night, sure. It ended. I found my wife walked in and found me in the sitting room by myself with a family-sized amount. My mother, I called over and gotten enough for four people, four grown adults, a tiramisu
Right?
that she made. I sat there like a snaffling dog who hadn't seen the outdoors or food in a week. And my wife walked into the living room to find me eating the entire thing. And even she had to have an intervention. She was like, Tom, this,
This can't go on.
this can't go on. This can't
Yeah.
go on. You're
Tom's
going to
there
have
like, but it's Easter somewhere.
an... So today, I'm saying today I'm back on the wagon as of today. I literally have just not eaten any sweets as of today. Today, literally as I'm talking to you now. So
Right.
pray for me.
Uh,
Pray for
I've
me is what
I've
I'm
I've
saying.
I've I've a jaw full of Haribo like chewing tobacco right now.
God,
I'm just
don't.
letting it's like I've Haribo like dip just inside me lip here, so I
He
do.
actually has a spitter, people.
Yeah.
Jerry actually has. If you hear there's a spittoon or a ding, that's
Yeah.
Jerry and some
That's Jerry
Haribo's.
spitting out a half-chawed fried egg. Yeah. That's what that is. Well, listen to me, Tom. All right, enough talking about this brand new, all singing, all dancing Tom and Jerry show that we're talking about. How about we get into it, buddy?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, folks. We're going to start each show every week with a wee look at the week's big noise, the brouhaha, the talk of the town, what we call the weekly what have you.
What do you need us for?
Because some damn fool accused you of being the best.
The weekly, what have you this week? I mean, there's been, I mean, you know yourself with the dawn of the internet and all the rest. You can go back and find whatever you want from the day. You can find your own birthday. You can find people love the whole Florida man thing from a date. But the week that's going and is we're in the middle of it.
This is it, Tom. Right
We,
now, as we speak.
as we speak, there's a solar eclipse, a solar eclipse. Uh,
Eclipse.
yeah, I mean, turn around every now and then I get a little.
Don't we'll get copyright struck before
No,
10
I don't.
minutes
I
into the
don't.
episode.
There has to be
Bonnie
acting.
Langford's litigious, buddy.
Jared, there has to
Is
be.
it Bonnie Langford or Bonnie Tyler?
Bonnie Tyler. Who's Bonnie Langford? She work in a pub up the road from you a while.
No, Bonnie Langford's famous in her own rights. If anybody knows who Bonnie Langford is, let us know in the comments. Regardless of that now, yes, the big noise this week, Tom, is a solar eclipse, which as we record at around about 7:45 Irish time, is above our heads right now. Not that you'd know it because it's pissing rain.
It's like I was getting excited because I looked it up and I was like, "Oh, Jesus, passing!" And I walked out and immediate sadness came over me. I was like, "It could be a full eclipse right now with the
Yeah,
just the dourness and soup that's in the sky." It's like,
you
come on,
wouldn't know one way or another.
you really wouldn't.
Like we were there, we kind of hyped the kids up a little bit about it.
Oh,
And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to be recording with Tom at the time. Like, maybe I'll ask him to bump it to the next day and we'll all go out as a family and look at this eclipse. And you look at it, and the rain is bouncing 5 foot off the ground. Like, it's raining so hard you're getting wet up your trousers, right? So, no, we won't be going out to take a look at the eclipse. And I'll tell you, not for nothing, Tom. They say that a solar eclipse is a rare and beautiful occasion. You're lucky if you catch one in your lifetime. But I'm going to tell you now, Tom O'Mahony, and the listeners of the Tom and Jerry Show, I'm 44 years of age, and I am sick looking at the damn things.
they show up the whole time.
Oh, there's not a year goes by without an eclipse.
Look, I mean,
What sum am I not doing right here, Tom?
for the one, if people are wondering what a full eclipse, close your eyes right now.
Yeah, there you
Not
go.
if you're driving, but pull in, close your eyes. That's it. That's it. Like what?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, yeah.
You got nothing else. That's exact. That's all it is. Just
You beat me to it, Tom. But yes, do pull in off the road if you're doing that. Uh, so what we have here now, Tom, if I'm correct, is the moon passing in front of the sun, and it's the classic. I was going to say Indiana Jones eclipse, but no, he didn't have an eclipse. But if he did, you would imagine what it would look like. Dark
yeah.
skies, crescendo. It's the apocalypto eclipse, don't you know?
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
So we are
But
only
only it doesn't look like that at all, Tom. It just kind of got slightly darker.
the grey went to slightly greyer. Like I was expecting some Mordor stuff every time they talk
Right.
about
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
It's a Mandela effect. Every year we get excited about these things like we've never come across it before. We go, never seen it before.
Never seen it before in my
But
life.
truth be told, when you sit down and have a think about it, you're like,
Yeah.
they rock these jokes out every year or so. We're
Yeah,
all,
you know.
and if there's so much as a fingernail goes off the side of the sun, it's like, well,
Oh my,
I think you'll find that amazing.
that's
And
like not for nothing, Tom. I'm going to tell you this right now, okay? And I'm going to cross off a couple of things. I'll tell you how recent there was a notable eclipse, okay? And I'm not talking, as you say yourself, there, a wee verruca on the side of it or whatnot, but like a notable sky goes dark eclipse.
yeah,
Donald Trump was president, so that's 4 years ago. You remember he
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
do
yeah,
you
yeah,
remember
because
they
he was,
said
of
like, don't stare at the sun, and there's
course
pictures
he
of him
did, yeah.
just staring at the sun. Now, I'm not going to throw stones at him because any eclipse I ever looked at, I stared directly at it, Tom. I'm
To be
sorry.
fair, to be
Yeah.
fair, you would. But
Could be answering a lot of questions there too.
here's the thing, like many things to Irish people, it don't matter a damn because there's one exciting thing. If the sun actually does show up, the last thing I want any bit of it doing is being covered. So I'm not
Yeah.
going to get in any way excited.
No, leave it be.
It's finally
I
getting to the front of the concert, and then some big lump of a lad stands in front. You're like, hey, 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 and you're supposed to get excited by him. But it's the eclipse of
he's a
Jerry's
human eclipse.
human eclipse of this
Yeah.
fella's back.
A total eclipse of the cinema. Uh, I'll tell you one thing, Tom. I do remember like the most notable eclipse. Okay, I'll tell you. I'm going to give you a total history of Jerry McBride and eclipses. All
You
right.
are, to be honest with you, all I can think about is the little chalky mint bars.
Oh yeah.
Or the ellipses. What do they call it?
Don't
No,
know.
an ellipse is a rugby ball shape. No,
Yeah.
they were eclipses, weren't they? They were answers on a postcard, please. Please,
Tom,
under
are you
post.
thinking? I think I know what you're talking.
They had
Your
mint
brain
crispy
is.
bits inside them, and they were the most unexciting looking chocolate bar. They were in a green and white papery kind of a wrap. And
Oh
when you tear them open, they were just
yeah.
ridges running down it. They hadn't put any effort. They'd used a stock mold. They were like they gave them a go one week and went, let's see how this rolls. We're not putting any money behind this. And then lo and behold, they stayed for years.
you know what that was like they turned up the oven too high on the after eight machine one day and burnt a year's worth of stock and they were like, fuck it, how do we get rid of this?
Yeah, yeah. That's it. There you go.
I'm gonna give you my total history of eclipses. I remember a story in a book that we had in primary school in our reader in the reader. You know what I mean? You remember the reader? And it would all have excerpts and novels and all this kind of crack,
I'd take your word for it.
right? And one of the stories was about a total eclipse of the sun, and it was this dude. Because I remember when I watched Apocalypto, as we did mention, I was like, I read that in a reader when I was wee. But it was this dude who was like captured in South America or Africa during the
Some place that
somewhere
has the sun
down
jar. Some place that has
somewhere on
the
the
actual
equator,
sun.
right?
Yeah.
And he was captured and they were going to kill him. And then he was like, I'm going to take the sun away because he knew that there was an eclipse due that day. And the eclipse came along and they were all like, oh, Jesus, let him go. And then he ran off. Now, good job they didn't capture him the day beforehand, all right?
That would have made a
Regardless of which,
great Marty McFly. You know what I mean? If he landed
right?
back there.
Yeah. And the teacher, we'd said to the teacher, like, oh my God, would you ever see an eclipse? Oh, like very rare if you're lucky in your life. What age is now? 7? No, no, you'll be long dead before there's an eclipse around here again. And then lo and behold, no, not a fact. Like, I'm sick looking at the things. Well, the one eclipse that I do remember looking, and I would have been around about 22, 23. So this is early 2000s. This is post 9/11. I remember that, but like, not necessarily married. So that puts me in my mid 20s, so to speak. And we were working up in the hardware up in Carrick. And this was a notable eclipse in the middle of the day that you were, of course, like everybody would tell you, oh, you have to be in
I have a
Salt Hill to get
vague
the
memory of this.
right.
It's like 2003 or something.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
you have to be in Salt Hill to get the very best. Or you have to be up Croke Patrick to get the
Yeah,
absolute
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
like a course with Everton. There's a perfect place to sit to do all these things. You go to a concert and there's a perfect place to stand to get the music hit you right, but you'll do all right everywhere else. I remember that because we all went. We all took like welding goggles and welding helmets out to look at it. And we're here holding a welding glass, looking at it, and then like you couldn't see anything through. You can't see anything
You
through
can't see
welding
it.
glasses, right?
No.
So we were all like, "What the hell with this?" And we took them off, and we're here with like welding goggles on our foreheads here, like staring up at the sun.
And just
And
holding
that's
2.5 inch like PVC piping just to get your eyes properly
oh
focused
yeah,
in
just
on.
to get them
Yeah.
probably burnt out of your head.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I really feel, Tom, like after that, okay, so that's the sun, brother, right?
Okay. That's the one happening now.
That's the one happening right now. That's this week's big what have you, right? Don't get me started on the moon.
That's just a pure cod altogether.
That's a pure cod.
Yeah.
Like, how often now have you seen the headline online or on a newspaper or remember those or be whatever, and it would say like, "Oh, stargazers in Ireland or will catch a rare glimpse of a once in a lifetime supermoon or a blood moon or a frickin' Jaffa Cake moon
Yeah.
or Keith moon." It's the rarest occasions of it all.
I'm going to jump in, by the way. I need to say this because this is in my head.
Go for it.
Buzz Aldrin, this is a table quiz question that you people can use. Buzz Aldrin's mother's maiden name was Moon. Just putting it out there. I mean,
Get out of there.
if that wasn't written in the stars,
Hey, I didn't know that.
there you
Oh,
go.
there you go. Concept of moon. Anyway, the
But
moon.
step to Moon. Yeah.
Don't start me about the moon, right? Because I swear to God, oh yeah, it's a wonderful blood moon. No, it's slightly redder than it would otherwise normally be. I'm not having it.
To be fair,
I'm not going out of the house to look at it.
you have to go see these things up. I looked it up, I googled it, and of course, there's a big flashing thing across in the same way, like nearly at Christmas when it shows for the Christmas turnaround. It showed this big wave across my phone of where you see it across America, and I thought, oh,
Yeah.
lovely. I says before I talk to Gerry, I'm gonna Google Ireland, and it just came up with like a news headline going, "Yeah, you know yourself." Basically, is
Devil,
what it said.
devil
To be
the
fair,
eclipse you want.
there was an honesty in the stark difference between Google and the two. One pretty much was like, oh my actual God, you're going to see an actual eclipse, a solar eclipse. It's going to be
Yeah.
amazing. We're
It's
going to
going to be
write songs about
life-changing.
this. They're going to shoot rockets. There's going to be, and the stars spangled me. And it gets to the Irish Google and it's like, Sarah, do you know
Yeah, sure what? What would you want to
what?
be looking at a moon for?
It
Or the
was the
sun, as the case may
It
be.
was the bleakest difference because we're only getting a wink is all we're getting. We're not getting a full shut eye. We're getting a kind of a, if you were squinting, do you know when you'd see an owl one squinting, looking up, she's ahead of you in the chipper. Do you know
Yeah,
that owl one? And she's
yeah,
squinting up and you know full well she's always ordered a fish supper and that's what she's going to order. But
that's
she's
it.
squinting. That's her eye line is her eyesight is what we're
See the
getting
price
right
of a
now.
pup.
Yeah, that's all.
That's what. And in the time we've talked about it, Tom, by the way, I'm fairly certain that it's past.
Yeah, yeah.
Literally, we're
I
recording literally while it's happening. A once in a lifetime occurrence is happening out there, folks, and we're choosing instead to talk to you fine people.
Well, the last time apparently we got a full one in Ireland was 1727. And pre that, like that was apparently the last. I mean, come on, yeah, maybe. All right,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
give me a shout when the sun is going to plow into Cullaville. All right,
that's
give me a shout when the moon is going to split in two and take a bite out of the Earth's arse. All right,
well.
and then I'll look
I can remember our teacher in primary
like
school saying
Pac-Man, just go.
we'd all like, same thing, like we'd all probably be dead. We'd never see it, but I do think a lot of them were expecting us to end up, as factory workers and whatnot, and we wouldn't get to see it anyway because we'd be indoors working. Do you
Yeah.
know? I'm guessing that's possibly what she was on
That's
about
that's
too. Like,
probably what it is. Yeah. I'm sick looking at comets too, Tom, by the way. Celestial bodies of all type can go
yeah,
can go jump.
apparently, though in Ireland, if we did get one, apparently we're one of the few breeds of people that were excited by it. The Celts thought to the bee's knees. Everybody else, maybe this is telling in itself. Everybody else, terrifying omen, an awful thing to be happening. The Irish would go
Eh,
class
yeah.
because I guess skullduggery can happen, but they'd have a festival of light. I don't know if
Right.
Monday ever played at it, but it was most like the apparently like the Chinese, terrible, brutal. But to be fair, the Chinese, you know
Fe
yourself, they
Festival of Light, Tom. Do they have a comedy stand? Who books that?
yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
get you and me out of it.
But yeah, as far as it goes, I hate to pour down cold water on it, lads, but do you know what? It's perfect for cynical Ireland anyway, isn't it?
Yeah,
We couldn't
yeah,
deal
and
with
and
a high end full solar eclipse. We couldn't deal with it. We'd be like, yeah, come on now. Come
and
on.
like if you did miss today's solar eclipse, such and all as it was, because you were in watching telly, or there's a 24-hour apple green up the road, and how do you compete with that, right? If you did indeed miss it, don't worry. You're not going to miss anything because I'm fairly certain your Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram feeds are going to be full of people that took pictures of it with the front camera of an iPhone, and it's a dot
Yeah.
It's like throwing a dart at black crepe paper. That's all you're seeing. And they're like, oh, stunning, so magical.
Magic. We got
Magic.
married. We got engaged under the imagine it.
Yeah.
That's that. Yeah.
But Tom, maybe we're cynical folks. I don't know. I'm going to throw it open to the listeners of the Tom and Jerry podcast. Let us know in the comments whether or not they've seen this wonderful eclipse, or indeed any eclipse, or if they're like me, and indeed I feel you, Tom, they're done with celestial bodies of all sorts.
To be fair, Jar, we know our crowd.
We know our crowd, I think. Well, next up, Tom. Next up, folks, on the Tom and Jerry show, we are going to take a look at someone who stood out this week. How does that sound, Tom?
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
You know the type. You know the type, Tom. The type that when you're talking about them, you don't just say, and then there's this lad. You say, then there's this lad.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of your women. That is good. That is good.
We all know, and this will go for anything. This will go. We are going to be broad on this. This could go for a tree. This could go for an inanimate object. This could go for an animal, like a woman, a man, whatever. This goes.
Anybody or anything can be.
But somebody that makes
this
you go,
lad.
just this lad.
This lad.
The sort where you read it, and you don't go, You actually walk over to the person near to you and go, this lad, and show them your
This
phone,
lad.
and they go, Jesus Christ, what's he? Because
Yeah.
and
You remember who I was talking about? It was this
Yeah,
lad.
this
Who's
lad.
this week's this lad, Tom? Who have you got for this
It's a
week's
fella
this
called
lad?
Russ Cook. Now, I'd never heard of Russ Cook. Nobody had ever heard of Russ Cook. I guess some people had heard of Russ Cook.
His mom and dad probably heard of him.
I'm guessing he could. I'm no relation, I'm sure, to the now defunct travel agent. I'm sure. But Russ took it upon himself for whatever reason. And I can't fathom it because
I can't. I went looking and I couldn't
Oh,
find that out
Lord.
myself.
oh Lord, I can't fathom the reason behind this. He said it was for charity and his family legacy. He wanted to do whoever proud around him. Fair enough, lad.
Yeah.
But you know, Jerry raises money for hedgehogs. I take my hat off to that if I had a hat. But this man was raising money for whatever charity, I don't know. But he decided he wanted to run from tail to top of Africa. Of Africa, of all places, Jer. Not
Yeah.
just one of the countries, which is huge. He wanted to run from the bottom all the way to the top, which went through 16 countries.
Yes.
When I read it first, I read 10K. Right, because you sometimes when you go running, I've heard
Yeah.
you talk about a 10K, and I'm like, oh, that's 10 kilometers. This was 10,000 miles, Jerry. This bloke decided to run the length of the biggest continent there is, and go. He started off in South Africa, finished up in Tunisia, pegged it the whole way, delighted himself. Russ is from England, I'm guessing. He's from what I can make out, but good. Sweet mother of Jesus.
Good sweet Jesus is it, Tom. And yeah, no, like when he's running the length of Africa, that's not like Africa, County Fermanagh, that a wee town that you just haven't heard of. Do you know the way like you have Dublin, Baltimore, and all this kind of crack? This is Africa.
It's spelled with a GH at the end.
Yeah, Africa. Yeah, all right. And I believe it's like homelessness and mental health charities that he raised all this money for. Now,
£750,000. Fair play.
Yeah, £750,000 sterling, and that's still worth something to somebody, Still sterling not doing too good now these days, but still in all.
By the time this podcast ends, you'd never know. You'd never know.
Sterling. That's bound to be worth a bag of chips or two. Regardless of which, right? Russ Cook, who goes on Twitter by the name Hardest Geezer, and I gotta tell you,
it's a fair moniker to go with, when your whole thing is running. I get it. David Goggins shouting at you, going, "You're slipping! Come at me! Come running!"
Yeah.
Well, you're like, yeah. Listen, you're half lunatic more than anything, and you never want to scrap a lunatic. But at the same time, hardest geezer.
I didn't get fully behind him on his journey. There was just some wee stone in my shoe that I just couldn't quite get behind him, and probably it's not in my nature, Tom. It's not my resting gear to cheer on an Englishman number one.
But
just putting that on Front Street, right? And again, he's there as Hardest Geezer, and that just I was like, all right, okay, fair enough. I mean, nicest runner, start with that, all right? But no, Hardest Geezer, all right. But you know what? I gotta tell you, 362 days and 16,000 kilometers later, I gotta tell you, as geezer go, he probably is fairly hardy.
But do you know what? I was reading, I was going, maybe he's just right. He gave himself that name as self-motivational, like, because you just have to keep going. I'm as hard as nails. I'm as hard as nails.
Yeah,
Because
I'm a hard geezer.
you and Jer, if you haven't washed, because that man, you weren't having full on. It doesn't matter how good you wash. After a full week's running in Africa, I don't care what you do, your skin needs time to settle.
Yeah, he's not running around the park in like mild weather. Like he's running in baking heat, so he's stinking.
I mean, and on top of
He
that,
stonks, Tom.
he is stinky.
Smelliest geezer.
He,
Stinkiest geezer. That's what he's new, right? He's gone from being hardest geezer and now he's stinky geezer.
and
A stinky man, Tom. I'm
do you
sorry.
know when you see the boys running, you go, "Oh, that's all the gear that you'd expect." He kind of looked like
He was wearing like a Coventry
Bermudas.
away top. Yeah.
Like, do you know? But I'm going to give him hardest geezer right on a few things. I've come across some hard people. I've read some stories about hard people. Like, to honorable mention to a guy, I got to send you on. I think a guy called Sean Edwards, who played the Wembley Rugby League final, Jerry, with
Oh,
3 broken toes on one foot, 2 on the
huh?
other. He had 3 broken fingers throughout. His nose had caved in on itself from the previous match, and he got his eye socket smashed in the opening 5 minutes and played the entire match. And I remember just going, "That's a hard enough geezer by the sounds of things."
Hey.
But to
What?
give out Russ his due, right? He's going to have chafing, no doubt.
I was just I
He is
was
going
going
to
to
be
bring that up.
rustling. He's going to be rustling and ruffling the whole length of Africa, right? You wouldn't be 1 mile up the road, and I guarantee he went, "This is an awful decision. This
Well,
is an
yeah,
awful decision."
mistakes have been made.
The man was clearly running from something or running to something. I don't know, because there's something drives a man to do that. But he has to be an absolute monster of hardness, given how foxy he is. I mean, you can't tell me that his option of running up and down Ireland a few times wouldn't be better for his skin health. Do you know what I mean? With
Yeah.
our natural total eclipse that we
You're
typically
not you're
have
not
here,
talking about Foxy as in he's a foxy lady. You're like he
that's
looks like a fox.
he's closer to looking like Anshanach, Mr.
Yeah.
Todd from Peter
He's a
Rabbit.
ginger gentleman.
He is, and a big old foxy beard on him, big foxy, and you're like, well, God bless you. I'm amazed you didn't burn like a crepe paper, you know what I mean, under a magnifying glass. Like, how in the name of God was he wearing
I
gypsum? Like, how did
I've
he get from
I've
top
no
to
idea, Tom. I would have imagined like, on about day 50, he'd be like your man that jumps out the back of the train in Volcano. Just lands feet first in the lap.
or the guy in the waiting room in Beetlejuice that's smoking?
Yeah.
You got a light.
Just melts into nothing. There's just a thumb sticking up out of it like the P800. Um yeah, and there you go. There was no other this. Well, there's a couple of every week has a this lad or two, Tom. Don't you know?
It does. It
Every
does.
week there's this lad, but we had to give it to Russ Cook here now. Now I will also say this: Russ, our man, is celebrating the fact that he is the first person to ever run the length of Africa. He is
Yeah,
celebrating that and being celebrated for that, Tom, regardless of whether or not it may or may not be true.
because he's being contested, isn't it? Isn't it being
Fiercely
contested
contested. And
by
by
the
the
World
time, but
Association of Runners, which is also known acronym is WAR. So
love it. War. What is it good for? This apparently telling you whether or not Russ Cook is the man that ran the first man to run the length of Africa. By the time this podcast lands in a couple of days, we record on a Monday, most Mondays, and you guys will get it. Oh, I don't know, some other day, right? But by the time this rolls out, maybe Russ will have been stripped of his medals and his hardest geezer. Maybe he'd be the most shamed geezer. But what you gotta like about him is he's not letting the controversy stop him from claiming to be the first to run the length of Africa.
do you know what, Jer? Like you said, 50 days in, there's a breaking point in a man. And honestly, if he got to the end of it and he had decided in his head that he was now a rhinoceros, I don't think anybody would change that man's mind, because
No,
has to be something running from South Africa to Tunisia. Uber, your thumbs, anything would have gotten you there faster. That man ran for nearly a year. Nearly a damn year he ran from the top to tail.
he
By the
Forrest
time he got
Gump's
up there,
Forrest Gump the length of Africa. Yeah,
he Forrest Gumped it. He did. And I swear, by the time, if you ran it or if I ran it, and we had something drilled into our head. By the time we got to it, the end,
Oh yeah.
I'm it. I am
Wild
it.
horses
I'm
wouldn't get it out of me.
no way, not a
Yeah, no,
hope.
I mean they're sitting him down and going, he's there like, and his people, he's got his team and his pals and well wishers and whatnot. And they're like, Russ, wonderful stuff. You ran the full length of Africa and the World Association of Running, as you say there yourself, World Athletic Running. What do you call them? World Association of Running?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, would have given that another wee while in the
Oh,
drafts now myself, but okay.
maybe it's WRA. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's WRA, World
Uh,
Running
we
Association.
don't,
Ah, lads, you should
you
have
know
done
what it
more.
is, yeah.
You
You
should have
know
done
the
more.
you
They
know the
should have
guys
done
we're on
more.
about. But they've just kind of said, no, here's here and not like we think there might have been someone at some stage done this. They're like, no, here's the dude, here's his name. And here's another fella, and here's his name
He's
as
a
well. And you're
Danish
just like,
fella. They have a
yeah,
Danish fella he went, oh no, he did that. He did it in the other way. He started in Egypt and went
yeah.
down the way through Kenya and Sudan and all that. So unless Ross is like, well, look at you didn't go to the pointiest bit. I went to the pointiest. I don't know what Ross's argument is.
Regardless of that, Tom, and you know me, I kind of I kind of have a lot of, I guess, respect and admiration for grifters and carny folk. You know, like Russ is just like, I'm going to make a name for myself. I'm going to, and raise a lot of money for charity, not for nothing. If this was for profit, I'd have a different take on it. But like, he's making a character for himself. You know what I mean? He's making himself the central character of this story. And by doing that, he's like, yes, I ran the full length of Africa, and I'm the first person to ever do so. He's leaning into that, and he's manifesting it to life just through sheer ignoring fact and reason.
You mean like Conor
And
McGregor?
I'm not mad. I can't be mad at it.
Like Conor McGregor, who
Yeah.
just pretty much says, I'm the greatest champion. You haven't fought in years. But
Yeah,
it's
and
the same thing.
last time I seen you fight, it didn't go too well. He's like, hardest fighter in years, best fighter of all time. It's like, well, your record doesn't quite show. Hardest fighter of all time,
I suppose he
me.
must be the hardest fighter of all
Oh
time.
wow,
So
Jesus, I mean, he said it 3 times, didn't
yeah,
he?
hats
So
off to
there
Ross.
you go.
For,
Hats off to Russ.
for,
But with that being said, if any of you people out there have run the length of Africa before Russ and you have a bone to pick with him and you don't think he should be this week's this lad, well, you know what? Let us know in the comments, Tom. That's fair, right? That's both sides given equal time, right?
no, Jerry, no. This is this lad, and he is the greatest runner of Africa. Well, no,
Greatest ginger runner of Africa of all time.
yeah. And I'm
And
not
Tom,
taking a backward step on this.
we can't wrap up this segment. You just kind of glossed over it there. I've done a bit of running in my time. You said to me, and we're lining this up. Oh yeah, Jerry, you can talk about this because you did a bit of running. Tom, I did a bit of running 4 years ago. I just did that much talking about it.
Oh,
But
is
still
that
to this
it?
day, you'll say, "Oh, you run." No, run. I don't run. I don't run at all, Tom. You
You
know,
did the Russ on it.
yeah,
You
yeah.
rust me.
I
You,
I I did such a good PR job of the 5 runs I've done in my life.
I had you down as a runner.
Nah.
I would have said Jerry McBride, the runner. You mean
Yeah,
that
that's
guy?
McBride. Loves running. Never in the house. No. Here's what I'm going to tell you, Tom, okay? Fair play to Russ for doing all that running. I do a bit of running. Okay, yeah, I know I just said I didn't. Some of these are just jokes, all right? I do a bit of running. I hate it, Tom.
Good.
I
Ah,
never
good. Ah,
I
Jesus,
never
good.
I never got to the point where people would be like, yeah, when you go out for a run and you feel really good. Oh, don't. Oh, but there's
Terrible.
a point at the start where you feel bad, but then you power through it and it's really enjoyable. No, it's not.
Good.
It sucks. I don't like it. Okay. And
I
I
love
tell you, so
I love this honesty.
for him to run for like 10 hours at a time, I'm like, fair enough. I can kind of see the mentality of you doing it if you weren't going for time or speed or anything like that, and you were happy just sort of plodding along. Because that's kind of how I run. I don't have any grace, Tom, or I don't have any technique. I don't have a technique that cushions my.
You have no grace, Jerry.
I have no grace,
I
Tom.
just saw
No.
you running like a supple Arabian stallion down along the footpath.
No, no, no. I run like I have a flesh wound and there's a timer counting down. All right.
Okay, yeah, it's still prettier than how I run. I
But
run like a
I
goat whose ass is on fire.
I can tell you how Russ would do it, that you would just shut your brain off, that you don't get to the end, you don't get to the finish line through sheer fitness alone. There has to be a high degree of pure dog ignorance.
Yeah.
All right.
But there has to be a point to what you're doing, Jerry. Why are you doing it?
Pure dog ignorance supersedes all points, Tom.
Yeah.
Never discount pure dog ignorance. It'll
Okay.
take you far in this life. But all this to say, Tom, yeah, you're right. Can you imagine the ire up that man's hole?
That's all I can whatever about his sunburn, whatever about the fatigue, whatever about shin splints, whatever about cracked toes, whatever about blisters, whatever about nipple chafing, whatever about the most obscure things happening that we don't even know about until you push yourself to these extremes.
Snake bites, tiger ravagings.
Well, you'd be all right in Africa for tiger
Yeah, you would,
ravages,
wouldn't you?
but
Lions, tigers, and bears, Tom. Oh
a
my.
honey badger coming
A
out and
honey badger.
having an attitude, he'd rip your nuts straight off without even
Gone.
asking. Aside from all those things, I can kind of tolerate him, Jer.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I can relate to in that moment is the unmerciful ire that man would have.
The
Put me
ire.
on a level of pain that the Gestapo couldn't have put out on me.
No.
I'm telling you now, like no, all the Sudocrem in the world will not sort out what that man must have gone through.
No. The inside of that man's thighs are worn down to the bone on
Either
both
that or he's
sides.
got crocodile skin now on the insides of his thighs and the inside of his arse cheeks. Like
Yeah,
it's in a bad way.
No, he doesn't want Sudocrem, Tom. He wants Hammerite.
WD-40 just to get him up the stairs.
WD-40. Never known to fail. Well, how about that? Now, Tom, what am I going to tell you? It is almost time to wrap up the show for the week, brother.
Up. We're not
What's
wrapping
that
up
now?
the show. Throughout it, we've been very cordial back and forth to each other.
We have.
But you
Oh,
know
now,
me.
Tom, now.
I'm a cantankerous sort, and I can't let it go anywhere without a small bit of a set to, small bit of a to and fro with you, because from time to time we don't agree on everything, and I'm not starting a row, but I'm starting a row.
I'm afraid that I was very, very drunk.
Tom, you're going to start a row, brother, are you? What are we going to start a row about this week? We nearly got out of town. We nearly got out of Dodge without starting a row. You tell me you're not starting a row. That's
I'm
starting
starting
a
a
row
row.
talk, man.
Formula One. Am I right or
Formula
wrong?
One,
You
Formula One.
You have no respect for it. I'm right, aren't I?
You are right, Tom.
Yeah, I knew it. I just
If we're
knew
going to
it.
start a row, if we're going to start a row about something, I think Formula One is as good a thing as any. You're for Formula One, aren't you?
I'm for Formula One. I am. And I wouldn't normally go into motorsport or whatever, but it is the pinnacle of all that is great about motorsport. If you're going to go to the top end of anything, whether you're banger racing or drifting or whatever, if you're going to stand back and go, well, what is the cream of the crop of what we're looking at here? It's got to be Formula One.
If you're gonna watch one karate tournament a year, Tom, make it the All Valley Karate Tournament.
No, you're going to make it the Kumite, which is what we're talking about.
Kumite.
Which is what we're talking about.
Yeah, you know what? I appreciate that, Tom, but you know what I'm going to say as a counter argument to that? You don't have to watch any motorsport.
You don't have to watch any motorsport, but all of us drive, Jerry.
Yes, that's true.
Do you know what I mean? So we all have a rate, and we all fancy ourselves as some. There's very few people who turn around and go, "I'm a brutal driver." Very few. Hey, listen, you've seen people in traffic screaming at other people in traffic. Why? Not because they actually have a problem with that person. They just think they're a far superior driver than them. So can you imagine a bunch of 7 Dan black belts walking around looking at what they believe is rubbish white belts? And then all of a sudden you look at just a whole track full of grandmasters just going around at 200 miles an hour in the greatest 4-wheel machines there are. In all fairness,
I got to tell you, Tom, for Formula One, okay? My big problem with Formula One, okay? It is not a sport that allows itself to be enjoyed easily.
But sure, what was ever good that was easy got?
No, relaxation and enjoyment should be easy, Tom. It shouldn't be a penance to watch something I like. So I remember I watched Formula One 20 years ago. I couldn't, no, God, no more than 20 years ago. 30 years ago, Tom. I keep forgetting the 2010s.
I know. There's been
was a thing that happened,
Damon Hill and Nigel Mansell.
Damon Hill
right.
and Michael Schumacher and Eddie Irvine and all these kind of lads. Like, that's my generation of Formula One drivers. Okay? Here's the thing with Formula One, okay? If you were into football or rugby, you'd kind of know Well, that's going to be on Saturday or Sunday at a certain time during the day.
Yeah.
All right. And if you're living in Ireland and you get, for whatever reason, big into American football, you appreciate that's going to be late on a Sunday night or late on a Monday night. It doesn't suit you, right?
Right.
But with Formula One, because it tours all the way around the world, there's no schedule you can keep. It could be on at 2 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, or it could be on at 3 o'clock on a Monday morning.
I get you. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. 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 Fair enough.
And I
But
appreciate that when it's in Monte Carlo and when it's in Brazil and when it's in Australia, that all these things have to move around to meet the clocks. But that just leaves it very, very hard to enjoy, Tom, because like I've gotten up in the middle of the night to watch things. Don't get me wrong. If there was something I wanted to watch live, some live sport that I wanted to watch in the middle of the night, I'll get up and watch it. Formula One takes 5 hours, Tom.
it's true. It's true. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But at the same time, isn't it class that you're not looking at the same old green patch of something? 1 minute you're in Monaco and they're ripping through the streets. The next they're doing Vegas or they're in Abu Dhabi or whatever, and there's certain conditions. Then it's always in Silverstone. It's going to be pissing down rain because heaven
Yes.
forbid, and there's so many different factors involved that they have to get on board, and it's just down to the finest margins. Like you're talking about, no other sport can be outdone by another version of that sport. Do you know what I mean?
Kinda.
Realistically, like if soccer is soccer, you go, all right, well, English soccer is this and Italian soccer is that. And there's no like turbo soccer where the players have 6 legs and the ball is even smaller and the net is even bigger. And it's
Every day
played
it's the
on a
World Cup.
tilty table. And every day is the World Cup. You
Every
know what
day
I
is the
mean?
World Cup. I will say this much, Tom. I would enjoy Formula One a lot more if it just implemented a couple of changes.
Go on.
All right. Number one, a race doesn't have to be 200 laps. All right.
Okay.
Make it
Okay.
5 laps tops. All right.
You're
Like
now before you know it, you're going to be talking about NASCAR, aren't you? Can we not
if you
just go round in a circle, boys?
if you haven't hit one in 5 laps, you're probably not going to win it. I don't know when the last time, Formula One fans can contradict me in the comments here.
Oh, they
But like,
definitely will.
is it a thing like Days of Thunder that someone comes from like 20th position way back in the field that blitz past everybody on the last lap? No, it's
Only
some
if
lad
their
who's been
only if their pit team is having ice cream rather than
more
time they're having
more on
ice
that in a
cream.
second. More on that in a second with the pit crews. I'll tell you one thing, but you love to see a little bit of underdog spirit. But no, it's only ever going to be won by the top three lads. And the lad who wins the race has been in the lead for the last 50 laps. He's been in the lead for 2 hours and then he passes, and you're just glad the thing is over. So that's one.
Okay, all right.
All right. If you're not going to do that, you need to jazz up the pit crew.
Jazz them up. What, like
Just
glittery suits? Like they're all cheerleading?
no, because I gotta tell you, Tom, I don't think the pit crew has really gotten any faster in the last 30 years.
Ah, Jesus,
Maybe
Jerry,
by
they
like a
have.
half a second.
Ah, they have, Jerry. Come on.
No,
30 years ago, one fella had a fag hanging out of his mouth. The other fella had an oil rag hanging out of his back pocket. Then there'd be another fella just texting his wife on like an old Nokia. No, Jerry.
but
It,
the pit crew, the whole thing, it's like 4 tires off, 4 tires on, pull the wee plastic thing off the visor, I think is still there. You know,
yeah,
change the windscreen wiper fluid and away
a
you
magic
go.
tree
And
hanging in the front.
they have it down to like 10, under 10 seconds or whatever. But if it was 10 seconds 30 years ago, it's like 8.8 now. It's not
Right.
dramatic enough for me. So
Okay,
here's
okay, all right.
I've
Yeah,
got
yeah.
I've got a solution for it, if you will.
Go on.
All right. So you pull into a pit crew, Tom. You can tell me what all to do, right? Change the tires,
Yeah,
fill up with diesel,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's about it, right?
That's it. Give his window a rub of the cloth.
Yeah. Give a window a rub of cloth. They got those tear off things. I do like those, right? Okay. Watch me now on this, okay?
Go on.
How about if the cockpit that you sit into when you're driving, right,
Yeah,
was, if you could imagine, like that was one unit.
it
That
is one unit.
But okay, but it's one unit that sort of plugs into the top of the car like a Nintendo 64 cartridge,
Are you
right?
talking about something you get out of a Kinder Egg where you clip the whole thing down onto a
Right?
chassis and wheels?
Okay, so you pull in your car, right? And beside it is a whole nother car, a whole brand new car, full of diesel, fresh tires, ready to rock and roll. And 4 lads, that's all it takes. 4 pit crew lads. You can lay the others off. You don't need them now, okay?
Okay.
So mass layoffs in the pit crew.
Right.
And they just sort of catch your cockpit and lift it like a bobsled with you in it and plonk it down in the new car. And you just hit the, right? And you just hit the accelerator. Boom, you're gone.
And next, I'm assuming you want to see like the driver in front be able to drop out the little shells and stuff like that, and maybe a star. You run over like a little light box on the ground, and it bling bling bling, or maybe you want
I am
rings. I don't know
just
which side of the
saying.
fence you're on. You want
I
rings on
am
it as well?
I am just saying that would be an exciting pit experience, and I would enjoy watching that. Now, Section 3, Tom, you mentioned it there. Weaponry. Yeah, I would like to drop little spike balls out the back of these things. Once a race, so choose carefully.
Oh, do you know what? I'll give you the pit scenario. I'll give you the pit scenario, and I
Yeah.
will say right there's some of the tracks like I'll watch Monaco, big with a bit more of an eye than I would a lot of the other ones. Now, I mean, you watch for accidents. That's what you're watching for.
I mean,
That's
look,
let's be honest. So why not create a small bit more danger? And if we're gonna do the Kinder egg, the Kinder surprise, and clip the car off and clip it back onto another one for, geez, I mean, why not? Down the
why not?
track, down the track, they're ripping 180, 200 miles an hour. That's like 360 for our European listeners.
Yeah, our continental friends.
Why not put in a loop-de-loop pure Hot Wheel stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
I'm down for that. Like
yeah.
they can build anything nowadays, Jared. They can
Yeah,
build
and
anything.
that was a statistic I learned about Formula One cars, Tom, is that a Formula One car produces so much downdraft to hold it on the road.
I produce a bit of downdraft myself, Jared. I won't lie
I've been
after a
known
few
to
pints of Guinness, but
been known to do that myself, but these lads produce
I'm
they
back to thinking
pro-
of Ire again, to be honest. That's where I'm at now. It's
they
they do produce
they
a lot of
produce they
downdraft.
produce so much downdraft that theoretically you could race a Formula One car upside down.
In like upside down, like
Like it would hold itself to the roof, like the car in Men in Black.
Jesus. Now we
That's
want
that's
I
that's that's not made up. That's a candid fact. So why
okay.
aren't we doing this, Tom?
I think maybe your pit thing is overcomplicating. It was over egging the pudding there now, right? But
All
you're
right,
onto something here now
with racing
because
upside down.
you're only trying to add more scenarios to this. I think you already just stated a scientific fact, and Jerry McBride is going on record as being a Formula One physicist. He tells me one of these race cars can race upside down in the tunnel like the car in Men in Black. Then why are we wasting our time driving
Why are we
on
not
the
doing it?
flat altogether?
And
Why have we stuck this into the equation? If it can be done, why wait? Jeez, you're leaving way too much meat in the bone. When you
you're
write a
leaving
joke,
money on the table, lads. And
leaving money on the table.
I'll tell you how I know you can race a Formula One car upside down. Because I remember reading it one time. I just don't remember where.
That's the finest. I don't need any more than that. I don't need any more facts. I don't need any more figures. Done.
I'll give you.
I'm going to
I'll give
argue
you.
this to the death with anybody ever again.
I'll give you one other thing, Tom, that I can't stand about Formula One, brother.
Ah,
And it's just something that would it annoys me, and I don't see how it wouldn't annoy a Formula One driver. Okay, safety is
okay.
paramount in these cars. There've been a lot of tragic accidents. All right, so when they skid off the road and all that kind of thing, it's nice to know that everybody's by and large going to walk
By the
away
way,
from it.
you're saying this with absolute
Oh, so no, don't get me wrong. Give me
this. He's saying, going, blah, de, blah, de, blah. The saddy, sad, Betty.
give me a, give me a spectacular spin out on a chicane. All right, but it's nice to know that whoever it is going to walk away from it. All right.
Okay.
So there's that. Okay. And one of the safety measures they've employed in these cars in recent years, I've seen it this far. I don't watch them all Formula One, but I've seen this past couple of years. I'm looking at it going is that always been in cars? In the cockpit again, which is not detachable. Again, money on the table, Tom. There's like a halo.
Yes. Yeah.
There's like a halo around the driver's head, I guess. And it's
Yeah,
about, it looks like it looks like the frame of a coffee table. It's like, okay,
but a
you know what I'm talking.
Scandinavian one like that costs a lot of money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice. And this halo obviously is like a roll bar protection to stop the
yeah.
head, your head from lopping around the place. But it terminates in like a bar that's
Yeah,
it's directly in your sight line. It's
yeah.
like it's like a bar that's about 3 inches wide and it comes directly down the
I
cockpit of the car.
I think if this will prove anything, I couldn't. I can barely drive with a squished fly on
Yeah,
the windscreen.
yeah.
Them
If there's
boys,
if a
them
bird has
boys
pooped on
could.
the window, I'm like, oh God, I have to clean that before it
I have to
starts
turn
flying.
around and go home. I have to
Yeah,
turn around and go home, Jer. Just
yeah.
ruined.
Today is
But
gone.
I, I cannot fathom how these lads can do 200 miles an hour. Now I know you're looking right, go right. And you're looking left to go left. But Jesus, if you're going straight and you have a big scaffolding pole down the middle, yeah, I will give you that. That is,
Just imagine you're driving straight down the road and directly in front of you on your windscreen is a strip of duct tape.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
and
yeah,
black
you
duct
know,
tape.
you'd probably see around it, but maybe it's just the way my brain works, Thomas. I'm not going to look anywhere except that, and I'm going to be cross-eyed by lap two. That's a candid fact.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
And
Yeah,
even when I'm watching these boys now and they're flying around the place, I'm like, I'm getting sick looking at it because I can't imagine the discomfort that must be. And then, oh God, love the pure Formula One billionaires now, but at the same time, I'm just like, nah, I can't watch this. It's
but
making me dizzy to look at it.
maybe they're just preempting your thoughts, and that's just a handle for the lad. They're going to hire a big fella to just clip off that's just a handle because it
That's
looks
the
like a
bit you
perfect
grab to
handle.
lift them out.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
Jesus,
looks like
then
a
we will
perfect
be.
handle for a big fella to just pick it up and drop it onto his new chassis.
Boom. Then maybe we're back in the race. Tom, how are you doing, my good man?
I'm happy enough there. I know I haven't convinced you. We won't ever watch a lick of Formula One ever again or ever. But at the same time, I think we met somewhere.
We met somewhere in the middle.
We met somewhere on down the track. I don't know where we met. It wasn't halfway anyway, but we came up with a few things that will never be implemented in F1. But I think we can both agree they'd be class.
Yes, we're right.
We're not making any safer anyway. That's what our notions. That's what I'll tell you. We
But
haven't made it any safer.
if anybody out there disagrees with us, who comes down on Tom's side, pro Formula One? Who's on Gerry's side, anti Formula One? Let's have a little fight off in the comments about it.
The
And
kumite
if you
in
do,
the comments.
a cup of tea and a bit of an ale set too, a bit of a Donnybrook in the comments, folks. We love it. And where are these mythical comments? We've been talking about them all show. Well, at the wrap up, we're going to tell you exactly where the comments are. The comments are in your social media platform of choice, Tom. That's where you'll find the Tom and Gerry Show. You'll find us on Instagram at Tom and Gerry Show or Twitter, X at Tom and Gerry Show. Again, we'll get you there. And you won't be all that far away from either me at Gerry McBride or him at
Yeah, in
Tom
fact,
underscore
anything that
O'Mahony.
you disagreed with Tom O'Mahony, just write it underneath Gerry McBride's because, that's
You'll get to us.
it'll get to us. It'll get to us either way.
Follow us on the socials is basically our advice because this time around with the Tom and Gerry Show, we're going to be very active on social media. We're going to show you everything that we've been talking about, and we're going to have the crack with you fine folks. And of course, you'll never miss an episode if you follow us on the socials. You'll also never miss an episode if you
Hit subscribe
to us, Tom. Yes.
Whatever platform you're listening right now, it's most likely either going to be the usuals, Spotify, Apple, the usual ones. Just hit the bell as well as hitting subscribe, so at least it'll pop up in your phone every single Thursday. So you'll go, oh Jesus, yeah, class. And then for a finish, you won't even need to think about it. It'll just be landing there. If you can rate it, I know you can do nowadays on Spotify, you can do it on Apple as well. If you can rate on whatever app you're on, give it the highest rating you can, please.
Yeah.
Anything below where you go, I'm not sure the guys really hit their straps on that one. No good to us. It's no good to us either way. But what it does allow more people, these platforms, when they go, oh, the lads are getting loads of 5 stars, will make it more visible to more people. The more people on board, the more we can put time into pulling out more episodes. So, other than that, I'm fairly happy with that now, Ger. I'm in no way going to go out and have a look for the moon or the sun or whatever I'm going to do.
No, nor am I going to. I'm not going to run the length of anything. I'm going to run from here to the bed. Maybe that'd be about it.
Yeah, and to keep the duct tape off the windscreen of the car.
Yeah,
That's
you're talking.
the most important thing.
And that is it. We will see you back here next week for another episode of the Tom and Gerry Show.
Mind yourself, lads, and mind the road.
Tom and Gerry Show is sponsored by findavenue.ie.
For over 10 years, findavenue.ie has been working in the Dublin area, helping thousands of companies with all their venue needs. From corporate parties to away days, training seminars, conferences, summer barbecues to Christmas parties. The lot.
As a pair of comedians who know what it's like when the wrong venue gets booked for the wrong occasion, we can assure you that findavenue.ie is the go-to service when you're looking for a venue for your upcoming event. Simply contact them at findavenue.ie and they'll do the rest, saving you precious time and hassle.
Best of all, findavenue.ie is absolutely free to use.
Get out of here.
I'm telling you now, with findavenue.ie, free means free. No hidden costs or sneaky charges, all backed up with an incredible team offering you great customer service throughout the whole process. If you need a venue for anything from corporate day out to a quiz night, a gala dinner, or even a virtual event, findavenue.ie is your one-stop shop for all.
Head over to findavenue.ie to see how they can help you with your next event.
Thanks again to this week's sponsor for the Tom and Gerry Show, findavenue.ie.